Hello everyone. Welcome to our show, Our Next Guest, with Donna and Sandrine. What is Our Next Guest about? It's a show where real conversation ignite big ideas. We sit down with bold thinkers, culture shapers, and industry disruptors to dive into the stories, insights, and raw truths that rarely make the headlines. You can expect conversations with people from across a wide range of industry, countries, corporate business, academia, beauty, marketplaces, literature, tech, and so on and so on, as we explore the stories behind the titles. Unfiltered, raw and real, thought provoking, and always a little bit unexpected. This is the place where curiosity sparks conversation. Looking for deeper insights, sharper perspectives, and human conversations that actually matter. You are in the right place. Today's guest is all about positive change. Today's guest is Kirsten Siegler, co-founder of VBC in Berlin. Kirsten, thank you for being our next guest today.
Thanks for having me.
So Kirsten, welcome. Kirsten Siegler doesn't just talk about change, she creates the conditions for it. As Sandrine already mentioned, she's one of the co-founders of VBC, Value-Based Consulting in Berlin. And she's at the intersection where creativity meets conscience, helping brands move beyond slogans to shape meaningful, value-driven narratives. Kirsten, your career spans global agencies, purpose-led consultancy, but I guess that maybe the red line here is always that it's about brand communication as a tool for transformation. So whether you're moderating a panel at Berlin Fashion Week, maybe we'll have a chance to talk about it, or co-piloting the strategy behind the circular fashion campaign, you know how to ask the right questions, the insightful ones, and probably also sometimes the uncomfortable ones that are actually leading to real evolutions. So in a world overloaded with purpose washing, Kirsten's approach is refreshingly rigorous. It's rooted in strategy, storytelling, and substance. And I think, Kirsten, you're one of those rare voices that is pushing towards a new kind of branding, one that is maybe less about aspiration and absolutely more about accountability, transparency, and one that leaves no room for greenwashing. So, Kirsten, again, welcome to our next guest.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here. And thanks for the kind introduction.
Kirsten, before we dive in into your experience and your knowledge, and also the purpose of your agency and your company, and since we are preparing this virtual stage for you, do you have maybe any song that you would be playing if you come physically on stage? Do you have any empowering song you would love to share with us?
A song. What I really like is oh, that's a good question. Oh my God, I have so many songs.
Or maybe should it be house or is it going to be classical or electronic?
I'm a big fan of pop music because it always brings me in a good mood and is easy to dance and sing with. So I'm all up for pop music. So that's why I would have said I want a pop song, but I would need to think more about it, which one it is.
You can take time, and if he pops up during the interview, please be my guest. Do it.
Okay,
sounds good. But it's gonna be pop, so upbeat and
it's gonna be
uplifting,
something
as you're
poppy.
saying. Yeah, energizing. Thanks a lot for this.
That's so nice. Well, before we dive into all the questions, it's also, of course, about getting to know you a little bit. And can you tell us maybe just briefly, where are you located and what should we really know about you?
so I'm based in Berlin, and I'm here for 20 years now. I'm originally from the southern part of Germany, and I studied there. And after university, I wanted to go where the pulse of this country is. And I had the feeling, okay, everything happens in Berlin, and that's why I went here. And not like only when I came here, I was looking for a job. So I didn't come with a job in the city or with a university study, but really like I came here, I had nothing, I knew nobody, and I needed to build myself up here and find a network. And that was not that easy in the beginning, I have to say. So Berlin is really a big city. And in 2005, when I came here, it was really bit anonymous and nobody had waited for me here, and that was in the beginning very tricky, but somehow I made it through all of this and found good jobs here, good people here, and am now really I now feel like a Berliner.
Nice. And when you say it wasn't easy in the beginning, like no one was waiting for you, like how did you manage? How do you navigate in a city like that? What did you do?
To be honest, it made me very humble. Like when you're just graduating from university and you think like, okay, now let's get it on. I go out, I get a job, I earn a lot of money, and just bring it on. And then you land in a city like this. It humbles you, and I realized that I really need to start from scratch, do all the bad work in the beginning, like prove myself and be super eager and show myself everywhere, and then only then I can climb up the ladder. So I have the feeling nothing was given to me, but I really needed to fight for everything, and it made me super humble.
I'm sharing, yes, like the way you had to step up. Now, like, you're super well regarded when it comes to communication and marketing in general. Was it always your thing, or was it like a process that you came into when you arrived in Berlin?
To be honest, I studied journalism at university and always wanted to be a fashion journalist. That was super clear to me that this is my path. And then when I was finished with my studies, I had the feeling, okay, but there's no money to earn in that field. Like all the jobs that I looked at was really like, oh, this is, you will not earn money with it. And then I said, let's go into public relations, try that out. I have the feeling that there is easier chances because there's a lot of need there. Many companies need public relations, so on. That's why I then rather took that path, and then on the other side of the table worked with the fashion journalists. So they were then my stakeholders, and I got to know the editorial departments. I traveled there. Which was then also nice. And for me, in the end, like looking back, it was the right step. The motivation was pretty like basic. I just went for the money, but in the end, it made sense.
That is something.
It made sense to me. Yeah, and I mean, in that humble phase of making it in a new city, money is also something that you need, right?
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, that's interesting though, because I mean, I guess maybe it's sort of like destiny, because fashion journalism, and now you're in fashion. You can use the skills that you developed during that study now with what you guys do, right? Because your agency, VBC, you help companies with, and then we're immediately there, I guess, with this, with this whole sustainability and future proofing their business. You need to do a lot of research for that as well. Do you find yourself sometimes approaching it as such?
Yeah. Like it's good to learn something from, like, build a good foundation for what you are doing, and also look into the different levels of it and meet also different people inside your field to know, like, what is it all about? How does fashion work? How does marketing work? How does communication work? And that's why it was good for me to first be in that very traditional field of marketing and communication, to learn about what is it that raises awareness? What are the stories that get down well in these editorial departments? How do these editorial departments work? How they view us as companies and as public relations managers? And for me, that was good to be first on that very traditional side. But at some point, after years of doing marketing and PR, I felt like the purpose is missing a bit, like always pushing the new campaign that is super loud and creates the biggest buzz. For me, it didn't do it anymore. And then that was about the time when I was at Zalando and I got to know the people inside the sustainability department, because I was the spokesperson for fashion and marketing at Zalando, and then they were my stakeholders. And somehow I spent more time with them and drove more of their projects. Because it gave me a lot of purpose and a lot of meaning, and I also felt that I relate very well with these people. And then at some point I switched from fashion and marketing to being the spokesperson for sustainability. And this was really the role where I felt I'm right there, and that's my topic. And that's like, that brings the fashion together with the meaning for me. And I'm really up for innovation and for changing the system. And that's why I then also decided to stay on that path and build my own agency, because at some point I also had the feeling what I've learned inside of Zalando from all these years, I can bring also to other companies and help them innovate and transform their businesses. And at first it was really about communication. So I started as a communications expert with a communications agency. And during these projects, I had the feeling, okay, but communication is nice, but then you always get something on the table that is already there, that has already been decided, and you're just then the spokesperson for it, or the one that creates the communication strategy. But I really wanted to create change and to transform, help transform businesses. And that's why we then also added the strategy part to our agency, that we are now not only consulting companies on communication, but also on how do you build up the right strategy and foundations in the first place in order to be able to then communicate in an authentic way.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense when you're fully integrated also, or maybe not fully, but when you're integrated in that strategy part, because you can help shape it. And I think you have so much knowledge and understanding that I think, if companies are smart, that's actually the way they move forward with their sustainability, because it helps not only with the communication, but actually shaping it. Brings me to the question that I wanted to ask, like, and maybe you can expand a little bit on that, like, how do you make it actionable? Because what you see is that a lot of companies, they're very theoretical or they talk about a lot, but how do you actually move away from the paperwork and actually bring things to life? What has your experience been?
I think it's everything that comes down to strategy is very technical. And often these strategies are only understood by the department that has developed it. So nobody outside of that department, even sometimes the experts in that department, they don't get it. And the reason why is because everybody has built up their own siloed skills and knowledge, and isn't really sharing it in a way that others can understand. And where I then try to help is think about your audience. Who is it on the other end of the table? How do you need to tell that story so that people can understand? And how would the story even be fun and motivating to become a part of it? So that you stop with your very technical strategy idea, that you stop at a certain point and think about, and how can I actually make it real for others to follow my great strategy. And it all comes down to the right structure, the right communication, and the right wordings for it. It needs to be less expert and more comprehensive.
Do you find that companies are open for that approach?
Yeah, to be honest, yes, they are. And people that have created these technical strategies, they realize it themselves. They present it to a supervisory board, and the supervisory board doesn't get it. And then they also don't like to approve of the strategy. And they need to go back then and change it again and get another invite for talking to the supervisory board, or the project is even off the table then. So sometimes you get one shot. And if you then make it understandable and comprehensive for these different audiences, put yourself in these shoes before and think about how you can transport it. And that's really something where we feel our clients say they need help with. They know it themselves. They've seen these faces on the other side of the table when they present their slides, and they see that they are so deep in their rabbit hole that sometimes not very easy to come out of it and explain it well. And I think the reason for this is because in these sustainability teams, there's really experts. They are deep into CO2 calculation, LCA assessment and stuff. So they are the experts, and they have all this knowledge, but they are often not good communicators. They also sometimes work in their bubble, in their silo, and we help them then to translate it and remove the complexity from it and make it a fun story that is even worth listening to. And to be honest, this is also not something that I only do myself. So when you said it's nice that you are also doing now strategy work, so of course an important step was to get the right people on board to be able to do that. I'm still a communications expert. I can feedback a strategy because I know what a journalist would say or external stakeholders would think about a certain goal or a certain vision or mission, but I can't do all of the nerdy stuff myself, and that's why I have recruited the right people to come to us and work with us and and make sense of all these technical strategies.
I'm getting curious, Kirsten, because you're talking about your team and the agency also like so eloquently. How many people are you currently in the agency?
We are currently a team of 10 people, and it's a mix of people that we have in Berlin, but also across Europe. So like we have a copywriter in Finland, we have a PR, a woman in the UK, we have people in Berlin, but also in Zurich. So it's like all across Europe. We have collaborators, and we also have partner agencies. Like when it all comes down to the regulatory stuff and public affairs, this is also something that we can't do in-house. And then we always level up our teams with the right experts from externally to work together on these projects.
So yes, you do have like an international footprint. You're located in Berlin, but I mean, you can work like with any type of companies, national and international.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also super important because we often work with big corporates, and they have an international footprint. Like they want to communicate their sustainability work globally. Like, so we also need to know the US market and the media landscape there. At the same time, we need to be super firm about Europe and the fragmented market here. Like, what are the consumer authorities like in the Netherlands? What kind of critics do also companies have in Sweden? Like, so that we know like where's every country at, and how can we then also tailor the communication to the needs.
Sounds amazing. Perfect.
Yeah, you have an amazing network because, besides the people in your team, Kirsten and I have met before. I know that you also have an incredible network of resources that you can tap into. So basically, companies can approach you if they want to work towards better sustainable future, and you can help them with strategy and with everything from strategy to communication, right? Because you can also help them with their branding, with their media, with all kinds of communications in between.
Yes, and that's honestly also our USP. So often you have these consultancies that can do all the calculation stuff for you. They can calculate your footprint and do your strategy work, and then you need a PR agency or a comms agency to do the communication for you. And since we are combining both, is this really something that you don't get often, and where I also feel the value that we bring. And this, to be honest, also comes down to situations that I had within Zalando when I had an agency and I was doing a report with them. And I asked for, can you help us also with the activation? And can you then also help us with press relations and stuff? And they said, no, this is not what we do. And then I had the feeling like, when I have an agency, I want to help holistically. And even if I don't have that capability in-house, I will always say, I will try to help you. I will find the right experts, and we can work together as a team to bring this across the finish line. Because just saying like, no, this is not what we are doing, for me, that was not satisfying. And that's why we wanted to build up the agency like that. Not like that we say we can do everything ourselves, but we can always help finding the right people and tailoring the teams to the needs of the companies.
I'm getting curious, Kirsten, because obviously like you sense like, okay, there is like a need, there is a niche, it doesn't exist yet. So before you creating like your your company, I mean, you didn't find like an agency properly who was like doing that holistically. To your view, was there a reason for that agency didn't try? I mean, because obviously it's now your area of genius, and that makes total sense. But why no one tried or dared to do that before?
I think this is also how this whole agency world has evolved. I mean, there's these big consultancies, the big five. They are focused on strategy and helping companies to get it right. And then there is always these public relations agencies that are purely focused on communication. And of course, they all can do a bit of the part of the others, but not fully. And I think that's a traditional way of growing of these agencies, and perhaps sometimes also something that is too far in the past, and that isn't transforming itself quickly enough to the needs of the big companies. And I mean, also big companies are used to having different agencies for different problems. But always when I work with our clients, I have the feeling, even if it's okay to have two agencies, it's always easier to have one that coordinates and briefs everybody, and it all comes from one team then.
I would say even especially when it comes to sustainability, because it's one of those topics. Again, maybe here you can tell us whether or not that is true. It's also been my experience that it's actually quite fragmented often in organizations. Nowadays, I guess you see more companies, or the bigger companies have a sustainability department, as you mentioned, at Zalando, for example. But there are also quite some smaller players and medium players that might have a part of sustainability with their marketing team, with their media team, with the branding team, even with the employee branding teams. So I guess it makes sense to have, one point of contact that understands the company and that can bring all the internal stakeholders together. Is that also what you help companies with? Can they also come to you and say, hey, it's everywhere, help us structure?
Yeah, exactly. The stakeholder management. And I mean, this eats a lot of time for companies. And with the economic crisis, there's also not that many shoulders anymore for doing all of this stakeholder engagement work and keeping each other updated. And I think it's a good thing that sustainability is is spread across the company. It was never a good idea to have it siloed in one team. Best case, you have a good team, and that's greatly connected to all of these different departments and has counterparts in all of these departments. But yeah, so stakeholder management is a big chunk of work, and this is also something where we help with, and this is then also easy for us to do because we have been exactly in these positions at Zalando. So doing the stakeholder management, bringing all the right people together was always my my work to do there, and where I also had the feeling my PR background was a good thing because it was always about relationship building and about what do others need and how can we then also match all of these needs and bring value to all of the different stakeholders.
Yeah. I want to go back maybe quickly to this actionable part, because I'm not sure if you know, but I'm currently writing a book on a better future for fashion, and I'm having interviews with quite some people from the fashion industry. And one thing that someone said to me a while ago was, you know, what would help us if we would stop just focusing only on reporting. And it was a comment that was made that was all about, you know, how internally there is often so much need to report on everything that they do from a sustainability perspective that it's hard to focus on this actionable part. So how do we move towards improving processes, structures, systems? Because we always have to report. Is that something that you also experience, that there is maybe more focus on reporting about sustainability than acting towards it?
Yeah, and I think this is also a development that came with the new regulation around reporting, right? I mean, it's nowadays for big companies, it's way more time intensive to report about your progress, and you need to write these big CSRD chapters in your annual report, and this also then bundles capacity. But from my perspective, this is also super important. And the mistake in the system is, in the first place, that you don't have enough people working on sustainability. So you need these people that make it actionable and create the right foundation for it and have it in all of the departments and not like on the shoulders of a small sustainability team. The sustainability team, together with the financial teams, can do the reporting stuff, but they shouldn't be the only ones that then are also responsible for making it actionable and implementing it in the company. So like we need to get away from that siloed thinking. We have these sustainability people and they need to do reporting and they need to do all of the processes and they need to do this. And if they are not enough people, then it's too much. No, you should think differently about your processes and about your workforce. And then it's not too much work, and then it's innovating and transforming your business for the better, and it's not just about compliance and complaining.
Well said.
Yeah, totally. Yes, and as you were saying, like Kirsten, I mean, your work goes beyond like processes, goes beyond like structuring, you know, goes beyond also probably like easing the communications like between departments who are maybe in this silo thinking. What I loved about what you just said is that you created or you founded like your agency and you founded a sense of purpose. At first, it was like at Zalando, then you moved like into, or you got an interest into sustainable fashion, and then more and more you got the chance to dig in or to deepen up your knowledge in that topic. With regards to sustainability, are there any topics that are dear to you when you look at sustainability in general?
For me, it's the people topics. I think it all comes down to people. It's about fairness. It's about dignity. It's about respect, and that all belongs together. That's why we also decided to not only focus on environmental sustainability and the typical social sustainability, but we also involved diversity, equity, and inclusion into our work, because we feel it's all about people. It's about our future as people, as society, and that's what excites me the most, and which is also the easiest to talk about, because nobody understands all of these environmental factors and all these planetary boundaries, and this is very technical. But if you break it down and talk about what it really is, it's people, and this is what excites me most, and where I also feel this resonates with me the most, because it's about us.
Totally. And is there any challenges that you're like, okay, this one has to be overcome, or this is like the one I would like to solve out?
Oh my God, it's so much.
Sandrine, let's start.
So much we need to solve. And I mean, these times currently also make it more obvious that like this is not the one thing we can solve. But if I would be able to change one thing, it's really the respect. Like having respect about the people and the needs of the people, and this fairness part. Like this is something that we really need to overcome, which I see in our politics also in Germany right now. It's a real problem that there is no respect for the needs of different kinds of people, and that there is no fairness at all. And these are the topics that drive me around in my private life, and also in at work, and which I also talk a lot about with my kids, because this is something that definitely needs to change. And if this changes, all of the other changes will come with it.
Yeah, I can sense, like the sense of, you said, it's a value-based agency, like the sense of justice, like respect, community, communication, and as you're saying, like maybe talking to the next generation, that is super valuable. Yeah.
I think
Totally
it
relate
speaks
to
for
that.
your agency, right? Value-based. I mean, you don't just say it, but you actually live it, which makes it which makes it authentic to how you work and what you work on and towards. Very, very powerful, I think.
Yeah.
Very good.
And this was also super important for me and my co-founder, that is also the way how we build up our teams, that because we learned a lot from our past. Like he was working in different agencies, and I was working in an agency and also in corporates. And what I was always missing was this people factor. Like, who is it that you're working with, and how can you be a better team, and how can you be on eye level and work together? And this also, like value-based for us means also this is important in the way we work with each other every day, and how we come to work, how we manage to be private people, but also people at work, and how we bring all these interests together and are fair and respectful leaders. That's super important for us as well. And I have the feeling this doesn't even take me so much. This just takes my like what I think is the right way to go, and which has so much benefit for all of us in the way if we work like this. So now I don't feel stressed anymore. I mean, I'm self-employed, or I'm the founder of this agency, and to the outside world it might look like, oh, she must be crazy busy and she must be crazy stressed. But to be honest, since we have created this environment with each other, I'm less stressed than I was before in jobs that had less responsibility. Because if you have these conditions for yourself, and you feel safe, and you feel respected, and you respect others, this makes work so much easier and less stressful, because this human part, and this takes you so much time if that doesn't feel right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and I can sense also that your agency also transpire your value. Like there is a sense of alignment in the way you're talking, and maybe in past companies you could actually like relate to the values, but now it's like so dear to you. It's part of your DNA, of who you are, basically. So It's you're not like working to live. It feels like you're living to work. So a sense of passion and commitment into it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's also very much easier when you are able to create your own environment, and if you are able to decide for who you want to work with, and that's, yeah, I mean, that makes it all easier, and this then might also for other people sound like, oh wow, but how can this be that easy? It's easier when you do it.
Yes, that was my next question. Because it looks so smooth, like listening to you, Kirsten. We are all like, yeah, let's be entrepreneur then.
I mean, what helps, what always helps is creating a service and not a product. Because I was part of Zalando did a series of interviews with all of these startup people that emerged from Zalando, like all of these entrepreneurs that went out of Zalando and founded their own business. And then this person asked me many questions, and then he said, and the financial part, how is this? How big of a problem is this? And he was super surprised when I said, actually, it was pretty easy, because we didn't need to build a product and pump a lot of money into it and make it right and iterate it. We created a service that we knew many companies will need. And of course, also the Zalando name in our CVs helped us a lot. But yeah, it's easier if you are offering a service and have already tested if that's really in need or not.
You know, if we look at value-based consulting and what you do, it makes so much sense that, you know, you started with a service and offering a service, and you're actually expanding that service because you have the ability to actually support companies when they approach you. You understand where they're coming from, you understand where they need to go to, and you have all the tools to offer that service to them. Maybe one question that I wanted to ask is, how about greenwashing, right? Because I just want to go back to this sustainability as a whole. There is so much we as consumers here in in the retail landscape about greenwashing. This must be something that you encounter. How can you help companies move away from that? Or, I mean, looking at the values that you have yourself, that you hold, have you ever been approached by a company that says, hey, we just want to tell a prettier story than what we actually do? Has that happened? And if that would happen, what would you do?
I mean, they don't tell us that they want to tell a prettier story, but they come to us and they sometimes have a certain reputation and we know what they are doing, and they ask us for a communications project, and we then ask, like, are we able to consult you on the foundation for this communications project? Can we change something? Or do we just need to take what you are putting on our table and just communicate it? And if then the values of the company don't match with our company and we are not even able to consult them on the foundations, then we have already said, no, sorry, we can't work for you. Like that happened in 2 cases already. And we also one time had a project with an organization where we felt on the go, this isn't ambitious enough, this doesn't feel right, this is also not inspiring for us. And then we were very upfront and said, honestly, we should stop here. We can't work for you anymore because your ambition level isn't matching ours. And this now sounds super strict. We are not strict. We meet our clients where they are, but we need to see there's an ambition to get better, and that there's really it's a trustful company that we can stand behind. Yeah, that's like how we approach this.
Right. There is a strong work ethic. Yeah, I mean, you can sense like a high level of integrity. And I feel that, yes, that speaks also for you at some point. Also, you choose also clients that value what you value, and that, yes, as you said, meet you also on the same level.
Yeah.
and share the same objective.
Yeah. And we are very realistic as well, right? I mean, there's not only good companies out there, but sometimes we also have the case that there is we know how much transformation it needs to get better. And we also know where companies stand. But sometimes there's also a sustainability team that's approaching us where we feel, okay, we really want to help you to move the needle inside your company and help you bring that to the supervisory board and change something. And then, we are happy to help even if they have just started with their sustainability journey.
Promising.
I mean, we could talk to you for hours, but maybe just, because you have so much wealth of knowledge. Your company is so interesting. You're an entrepreneur, which is interesting. The topic is interesting. I mean, everything about you, Kirsten, is super interesting. So we need to invite you again to talk to us. But maybe just because in the beginning, when we started talking, you said, you moved to Berlin 20 years ago, studied journalism, thought, you know what, I'm going to move to Berlin. I'm going to, make it big in Berlin. And you said, you were going to find a job and you were going to get rich. And I wonder, now you have value-based consulting. It's a different way, it's a different level, I think, of success. You've sort of redefined, I think, what success is. Would you say that is correct? Has your idea maybe of what success looks like changed over the years? Would you say that?
Yes, it has definitely changed. And what changed is the people that I have around me. Like when I came here to Berlin, I had a completely different environment to the people I'm working now with and I'm surrounded by now. And I think that there is a lot of influence by the people that surround you and how you can also develop further. And this is really something where I see the biggest shift also in myself and my values. They have changed over the last 20 years. For me, the money isn't the most important factor. For me nowadays, the most important factor is time. I want to earn more time instead of money, like have with my kids and with my husband and for my free time, and not work like 60 hours a week. So that's for me now the most important factor and has changed for me a lot. And also that I in my mid-20s I didn't think about having purpose in what I do. It was really only about surviving in a big city and somehow making it so that I don't need to worry about my social life anymore. And now I feel I'm so grounded and I have good people around me, and this has totally changed for me. And I need to find purpose in the work that I do. I need to have the feeling that I'm creating something better to leave behind, and also for my children. That sounds super ideologic and dramatic, but perhaps I'm the typical cliche of the Berlin people at some age.
No, I don't think so. I think that's only I think that's only natural that you'll want to, become better over time. I think it's a very human way of looking at things. So maybe just to end, what's next for VBC?
What's next? So next is the summer holidays. I'm pretty excited about it. Yeah, we have a very busy reporting season lies behind us. We have created I think 4 different reports over the winter month.
Wow.
And they all came out in April. And then we thought, okay, now it should be more quiet at VBC. But then they came a lot more projects. And then there also came Fashion Week, where I moderated these 2 panels. So there was always something going on, which is great. I'm happy about it. But at the same time, I'm now happy to also perhaps see a bit of quieter weeks over the summer, have holidays, and then come back, be fresh, and jump into the next projects. I'm pretty sure that there will be reports that will already kick off in fall, and There is strategy work to do for our clients. I'm super excited that we, for the first time, also made contact with a nutrition brand. So we are also then exploring new industries, not only fashion and travel and these industries. We are exploring new agencies. We want to do more in food. So that's pretty exciting, and that's what we are up to. Building our network, that will be great in fall.
So this is like what's next is just the beginning of VBC, the VBC story.
Yes.
Love it.
Definitely.
This is amazing.
Thank you so much for your time. I mean, we
Thanks a
definitely
lot.
have to ask you back because there's also an awful lot we wanted to know and ask you about Berlin Fashion Week, but time flies, and maybe that's then the teaser for next time. Maybe next time we talk about Berlin Fashion Week.
Nice.
Thank you so much, Kirsten,
Thank
for
you
being
too.
with
Thanks a
us
lot,
today.
Kirsten.
It was fun to talk to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
pleasure,
We
a
look
delight.
forward to catching up again. Bye.
Good luck with your
Bye. See ya.
podcast.
Thank you.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.